Hey everyone, this is Sugadan here to empower upcoming visual designers with tips and information to win at your job scene. This video is about the recent Zoom session I had with about 50 design students graduating from the National Institute of Fashion Technology, Kannur. So be sure to stay till the end of the video to know about the 5 most exciting and promising avenues you all should explore to thrive as visual designers. So let's get started. So before we begin, I take this opportunity to thank Giri sir and NIFT Kannur for asking me to take this session. I know some of you all might be confused at this time, wondering how to go about your career and the dreams you all had. I will try my best to allay all your possible fears and doubts about visual merchandising and the retail industry as such, especially in this situation where the industry has been battered down by the pandemic. My name is Sugadan Gopalan, and I've been a visual merchandising and retail store design professional throughout my career. I've had the privilege of working with some of the most prominent retail companies in India. Currently, as I said, I am an independent VM consultant based in Bengaluru. Since I'm hosting this session through a basic Zoom account, our time slot is limited to 40 minutes is what I understand. So in the first 30 minutes, I will talk about the state of the retail industry today. And the next 30 minutes, I will, on the next 10 minutes, I will open it for a Q&A session. I hope this will make the session worthwhile for all of us. So before I get into the details of this session, can I know how many of you all are pursuing VM as a career? You may please type a VM in the chat box. I would like to know that from you all. Well, to put things in perspective and to help you all understand better, I want to highlight some statistics so we all know where we stand in the industry today. My idea is not to bombard you first thing in the morning with numbers and figures, but then it sure helps us to know what are we up to. Let me share the screen. Just give me a minute. Are you all able to see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's visible.
So, okay, good. Since I am addressing a group of students, I thought I will start my presentation with a chalkboard to simulate the classroom feeling. Okay. The Indian retail industry has more than 15 million retailers, traditionally, traditional and modern trade. Retail employs 40 to 50 million Indians directly, of which modern trade alone employs more than 6 million. And we ourselves equal to almost 12% of the total consumption of the country. Retail industry alone contributes to approximately 40% of the consumption, and that is 10% to India's gross domestic product. Many of us who were doing very well in the retail industry are now suddenly struggling and looking at a bleak future after the pandemic struck us. But I tell you what, my understanding is that the retail industry is no stranger to changes and disruption. Historically, every revolution, every war, every new technology, every local or global change has impacted this sector. Changes that we didn't witness but still set strong and well-established rules. Other times, the change occurred so slowly that it went almost unnoticed. We don't build our lives around retail, right? Retail has always built itself around our lives. So let me quickly take you through some of the changes the industry went through during my career so far. I've been in this industry for over 20 years now, and I can roughly divide it into 4 periods or changes that I've witnessed. In the late 90s, the first 5 years of my career was when I experienced modern retail formally taking shape in India. The appearance of EBOs, or what we call as the exclusive brand outlets. That was a clear sign that some Indian and foreign brands were starting to establish themselves in modern retail in India. Some good examples I can give you are the World of Titan and Lee Jeans. In fact, I remember those heydays when I was traveling across India, setting up stores for Timex watches and Lee Jeans. Slowly, a few years later, the next change was the emergence of MBOs, or what we call the multi-brand outlets and departmental stores. Popular and premium brands were curated by modern retailers and sold under one roof. Now, this format gained prominence especially as destination stores for family and wedding shopping. Some popular names in this segment are Shoppers Stop and Lifestyle. And as years passed, the markets matured and evolved to open bigger and larger stores to cater to the masses. With rising incomes among the population, the shopping malls that were being developed, large format retail began to gain popularity. Now, these formats sold a wider variety of goods such as apparels, groceries, vegetables, fruits, fish and meat, and so on. Some big names to be mentioned here are Big Bazaar, Hypercity, Spars, and so on. 2015 onwards, the emergence of e-commerce as a major player started showing up. We saw a lot of Indian startups slugging it out, making it to make it big. Some have made it big, but many couldn't. Flipkart, Myntra, Big Basket are all some of the successful Indian names before the Amazon and Walmart could come in here. Today, online and offline shopping are merging into one experience from the customer's point of view. The customer will simply do what is more convenient at a given point of time. He will choose what, where, and when that best suits his wants and needs are. So those were the changes retail has gone through in the last 20 years. I've been here. Whether I liked it or not, those changes were inevitable. And like a whole lot of us in the retail sector, I have adapted to the changes. Now, this pandemic has completely changed everything yet again. The way we work, the way we shop, the way we educate ourselves, the way we entertain ourselves and whatnot, all got into the digital realm. So what will retail look like in the coming years? Sure, e-commerce is roaring and riding the wave right now. Amazon, Flipkart, Ajio, Big Basket, they're all posting big numbers. India's e-commerce sector has grown exponentially, and we are ranked 9th globally in terms of growth among the top 10 countries. E-commerce in India witnessed a volume growth of 36% in the last quarter of 2020. Online grocery sales grew by 65% in FY20, reaching over 6,000 crores. I recently read that the group CEO of Flipkart said that Indian e-commerce industry will reach $90 to $100 billion in 3 to 4 years. So does this mean the end of the road for brick and mortar retail? While the coronavirus crisis has closed many high street stores and retailers, and consumers are flocking to e-commerce, I think over a period of time, physical stores will come back into focus, but with a new emphasis. I tell you what, we will eventually get bored of consuming things from the digital screen. Humans are, after all, social animals. We crave to go out, meet people to satisfy our emotional and psychological needs. Probably that is why India is currently going through the chaos of the second wave of this pandemic today. So when I say physical stores will make a comeback, it will be fewer stores, but much better stores. The stores that will thrive will have to rely on emotion, human connection, discovery, and community, and things like that. Brick and mortar retail will become a high-touch, sensory-driven experience centers. So there will be an opportunity for retailers to start innovating the physical space once again. And you, as visual designers or visual merchandisers, are going to be playing a major role in this re-emergence. You will start designing spaces that engage almost all of the shopper's 5 senses. You will offer, highly immersive technology like, retail experiences through use of technology like virtual and augmented reality. Storefronts will no longer be just a promotional tool to drive foot traffic. With cutting-edge technology, storefronts will become much more than that. Luxury brands had already started reimagining their storefronts with shoppable window displays. We are normally used to seeing a lot of static window displays with no interaction between brands and customers. To reduce physical contact and initiate interaction between brands and customers, brands are now implementing engaging window displays. Now, these are not your average storefronts. The displays use interactive functional elements such as QR codes, VR effects, touch screens, and ER effects. While some of these features were implemented before the pandemic, they're going to be must-haves after the pandemic. Now, that's what the future of visual merchandising looks like, to my understanding. Let me share the screen once again. So some of you all might be going through this burning question now. To answer this question, I have picked up some avenues from the market today, for you all to explore. Now, these are 5 sectors, 5 different industries where you all could use your visual design skills and hopefully make it big someday. I suggest you all please note these down as I continue. So the first of the 5 avenues that I found interesting and promising is museums and galleries. Now, we have all gone to museums at some point in our lives, and we know most of the museums in our country have got some wonderful exhibits, but they barely evoke much interest in us when we visit them. Mostly the exhibits are static and poorly maintained. In fact, I remember the last 2 museums I had visited a few years ago. One was the Salajang Museum in Hyderabad, and the other was Victoria Memorial in Kolkata. Both had rich exhibits, but poorly and sadly maintained. So to prove a museum's relevance and set themselves in the forefront of consumer interactions, visitors should be able to access as much or as little information they require. They must be able to pick and choose their way through an exhibition and create a storyline for themselves. It seems that people are increasingly attracted to and satisfied with the illusion of direct contact with the real. It could be via virtual path, especially if it can engage their senses as well as their minds. Today, digital technology will be able to provide that richly informative and entertaining experience. And I see there is tremendous opportunity for this in our country, considering our rich cultural diversity, history, and population. In fact, I know of a particular design company in Bengaluru who specializes in museum design. So if you have an interest in history, culture, and subjects like that, this would be a great place for you to apply your creativity. I would urge you to explore this area. It can be very interesting and satisfying as you get into it. Has anyone here watched this movie called Night at the Museum? In case you haven't,
yes,
I strongly...
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay, great. For those of you all who haven't watched it, I strongly recommend that you watch it. Now, that's the kind of museum you will see here, what I mean by the immersive and interactive one to get visitors engaged and entertained. It's a very good fantasy comedy movie, and I bet you can even find some inspiration here. So please check it out if you can. Moving on to the second sector for you all to explore is the hospitality industry. I think most of us love to dine out with family or friends or colleagues. Reasons and occasions can be many depending on situations. It's such a human thing to bond over good food and drinks to make events memorable. While the cuisine or theme matters depending on the occasion, what also matters is the unique experiences they give us, like the ambience, the music, and other exciting things they offer. While it is for the chef to cook and serve great food, I think it takes the imaginative visual designers to deliver the visual storytelling part of the experience. Restaurants can be different from each other, and the successful ones know how to package their unique experience well to their targeted audience. Anyone here who has experienced HRC, Hard Rock Cafe? To my knowledge, there are about 8 HRCs in India. 2 in Mumbai and 1 each in Bengaluru, Delhi, Gurugram, Hyderabad, Pune, and Kolkata. Now, Hard Rock Cafe, Hard Rock Hotel, resorts and casinos is a worldwide thing, and they are all built on the theme of rock music. What makes them unique and popular is the rich visual experience they provide along with the live music, food, and drinks. Now, they are known to have an incredible collection of rock and roll collectibles like autographed guitars of legendary rock and roll musicians and their costumes, which are displayed at these properties. So for a die-hard rock music fan, this place becomes a must-visit destination to be photographed and experience the rock and roll fantasy. My point is, there are thematic restaurants or hotel chains working on to create their unique visual identity. As a visual designer, you have an enormous opportunity in this entertaining space to conceptualize their visual stories. If food and beverages is a space that gets your imagination wild, then this sector is for you to explore. With that, I will move to the third sector, that is film and TV studios. In another word, I would say production designer or set designer. If you have seen movies like Bahubali, Jodha Akbar, or Bajirao Mastani, you will understand the importance of a set designer's work that gives the films its character and charm of their own. It takes more than just a decent story and convincing actors to make a good movie. I'm not saying that the story or actors are not important. If the storyline is exceptionally good, the movie is already a hit. But to make it a blockbuster, it is important to engage the audience in a fictitious world with an extravagant set. Bahubali as an entertainment movie set new benchmark in the industry. The elaborate war sequences and theatrics was such an entertainer. Thanks to Sabu Cyril, the production designer who conceptualized the sets for Bahubali. He is a 4 times National Award winner for the best production design. Did you know he was a student from the Government College of Fine Arts? Production designer Nitin Desai was the mastermind in creating the Mughal era grandeur in Jodha Akbar. And that was such a visual delight to the audience. He has worked on many blockbuster films like Lagan, Devdas, and so on. He conceptualized few sets for the Academy Award-winning Slumdog Millionaire. Did you know he was a student from the JJ School of Applied Art, Mumbai? Now, if you are a Sanjay Leela Bhansali fan, you know his movies are usually based on historic stories. The beauty of a signature Sanjay Leela Bhansali movie lies in its larger-than-life sets. So for those of you who are inclined to the entertainment industry, film production, and has a flair for deep research, see if you can become the next Sabu Cyril or a Nitin Desai. In fact, if I could go back in time, I would probably choose this sector. So with that, I will move on to the 4th sector. That is e-commerce. Undoubtedly, COVID-19 accelerated online shopping multiple times. It, in fact, altered the way we shop. Today, our preferred shopping mode is online to safeguard ourselves from getting infected by the virus. Sales at physical stores declined drastically. A whole lot of traditional physical shop owners who earlier shied away from selling online have now started setting up their digital stores. With the online space getting crowded by the day, businesses and brands are today required to apply techniques and strategies to ensure that their online store stands out in the overcrowding space. Visual merchandising is no longer a tool solely for brick and mortar stores. Online stores are more and more needing to offer that immersive, engaging, and sometimes personalized experiences for customers. Now, if a visual merchandiser's objective at a physical store is to entice shoppers to walk in, effortlessly browse through the products displayed, and eventually purchase them, it's more or less the same strategy to be applied at an e-commerce website too. Now, the goal of an e-commerce website is to move visitors from the landing page to a successful checkout page, all the while engaging as many of their senses a website could do. It may not be as easy as I said, because we all know in today's ever-distracted world, where the average attention span of a human being is only about 8 seconds, retaining attention and converting online browsers is quite a challenge. However, visual designers are working on clever UI and UX design to keep online shoppers captivated and engaged. UI UX design is a hugely emerging space you all could look at. Every brand company or an organization has got an online presence today. There is a huge demand for talented visual designers to build and maintain the e-commerce sites and apps. So if you're tech savvy and working on and enjoy working on computer graphics, I say this is the place for you. You will enjoy it. That brings us to the fifth and the obvious sector many of you might be looking at: the brick and mortar retail stores. About 100 years ago, humanity was plunged into an existential crisis by Spanish flu, infecting some 500 million people and killing about 100 million worldwide. The pandemic created chaos for 2 years, beginning in 1918 and ending in 1920. The 111-year-old British department store, Selfridges, survived the Spanish flu and today is fighting hard to survive COVID and other challenges by transforming itself with a focus on sustainable consumption. So is the story of many other iconic brands we know. Brands are looking at innovative strategies to stay relevant. Last year, Nike opted for a radically different strategy. Their CEO announced that Nike would break its partnership with its 30,000 franchise partners around the globe. He decided to go for what is called DTC, direct to consumer selling strategy. It would give them two distinct advantages. Number one, increased profit margins. Number two, it would give them more control over how its brand is presented to consumers. Nike would focus its time, attention, and capital on 40 retailers globally that Nike calls the DTC partners. Nike decided to completely redesign their store. Their flagship store in Paris, called the Nike House of Innovation, was designed for a complete immersive experience. Now, this video clip I want to play for you is of that store. Please take a look at this. This picture is of a Canadian winter clothing brand called Canada Goose. In this store, they do not keep inventory. They just focus on customer experience. Customers are offered to wear and test their clothing. They are just sent to rooms with extremely cold temperatures resembling Siberia or Siachen. Let me play the store's video clip for you. So you as visual designers are going to be an integral part of this resurrection. In our country, there are many prominent retail stores currently operational. Just to give you some names and numbers, Reliance Trends operates 1,600 stores today. Lifestyle has got about 85, Max about 355, Shoppers Stop about 90 stores. Now, these are just few names I've mentioned. I mean, there are hundreds more in our country that are operational today. Now, these guys have no inclination to shut shops. They will all be there when this pandemic settles, and they will need you. So get your portfolios ready and find what interests you, and that will help you grow. So with that, I will now open this up to take any questions you all might have. Please feel free to ask any questions. Go on, please. Let's say you have a question. Where do I look for opportunities in music design? In fact, I know of a particular design studio in Bengaluru which specializes in museum design. And in case of any of you all are interested or keen on this, and I could put you across to this particular design studio.
Yeah, So I'm saying, can you please tell us about the studio, like the one you were talking about,
Okay,
the one for museum and gallery?
okay, this design studio is based in Bengaluru and it is called Design Core. It's an old design studio. They work on various projects, mostly government-based projects. If you know, they work largely for the Karnataka Tourism Department. And if you have traveled in Karnataka, you probably would have seen the Karnataka tourism signposts across many locations. Now, that is one thing that I can talk about. I mean, that is something that these people have designed. And like I said, yeah, they work on a lot of these museums, government museums, and they're doing some very interesting work.
So if somebody is just starting out in this VM thing, so where should we, start, like from the scratch?
I would say, firstly, be connected in the sense, be connected with the industry leaders. LinkedIn or many of these social platforms have all these industry leaders active. I would say you should try to get connected and start engaging with them. And you will get to know a lot, from these people as to how, what their experiences were, and they're willing to help a lot of newcomers today. At least that's what I feel, and I would say that newcomers should do today.
Okay, so thank you.
Continuing to that question, another thing that I would like to tell you all is, never look at the pay packets and the company names. I would say you start, even if it is a smaller design studio, you should start in these places. A smaller design studio would give you an opportunity to learn, things happening 360 degree, what happens in every function or every department, more than like what happens in a larger corporate company where you would be working only within a certain function. So I would suggest that, don't look at the pay and the position or the brand names. Even if it is a smaller company, go join them. And mostly what is required is building relationships. I want to repeat this: build relationships, build relationships, build relationships. That really works. Tomorrow, if you require some sort of help in your, in your career growth, if you have a good relationship in the industry, that simply takes you, on. You don't need your Naukri.coms or your LinkedIn's and things like that. If your network is good enough, that will help you grow in the industry.
One more thing, like I have tried applying it at various places, but unfortunately I was not getting any rewards. So can you please tell me what exactly a fresher should put in portfolio so that they can at least come across the opportunity? Or being a professional yourself, what do you look into a portfolio when you select somebody?
Yeah, so have your portfolios done with your best works. Like I said earlier, I think you need to get connected with industry players. I see a whole lot of people today active on social media channels like LinkedIn, Instagram. People, these industry leaders, having live sessions to encourage newcomers. You should start interacting with these people, maybe share your portfolios with these people, and they would be able to advise how to go about or even give you opportunities in the sector. I hope I was able to answer your question. Did I?
Can I? Is it okay if they can show you one portfolio? Would you be?
Yeah, sure, please. Of course. I mean, I wonder if we have the time,
Hi.
but if you can, or any other time.
Yeah,
I mean,
anybody? Mandeep has it, I think. Mandeep, would you like to get it? Just a quick one, just at the first glance, what you think?
So should I share my screen?
Okay, I
Share
think I
it,
should
share
be
it.
able to.
Yeah, just a second. So can you see my screen?
Yes, I can. Go on.
So like currently I'm pursuing my MDes in experience design, but I'm an architecture graduate. So that's the base. So I have written that. So for the second page, I have written my introduction where I talk about how I love creating experiences and what my other interests are, so that they can basically stitch a picture of who am I as a designer. And then I have pointed out some abilities which might help them to understand me better, and also which can come handy as a designer and but also as a professional. Um, so this is the content. Since I did not had any a past work to share for VM, so I shared some of my architectural projects and talking about what was the thought behind it. So this is the architectural thesis that I did, which was the topic was Fashion Hub. It was a cumulative of an academic and a commercial complex.
Okay.
So I have detailed out the details for the commercial ones. I have talked about the material I've used, the sort of lights and the other things that I've used. So I've emphasized on the material in the given render, and demark all the details.
Okay, I think I got it, Mandeep. I think I understand. Let me tell you what needs to be done in this particular portfolio what you're just showing. Now, there seems to be a lot of content that you want to convey to the whoever is looking at it. I want to tell this to you. Nobody today has the patience to go through a lot of text and all that stuff. I'm sure you are loaded and you would want to convey a whole lot of things, and if you really want to do that, I would say avoid a lot of text in your portfolio and try to make it more in terms of like a video where you personally appear and talk about whatever these things are, and by adding these pictures and videos of your things like that way it will be a little more interesting and it will catch your viewers attention. Otherwise it's quite possible that these people will just ignore and move away in the next one. So I suggest that slightly tweak your portfolio to do that. Did you understand what I said?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. I'll definitely do that.
All right. So I hope this. Any more questions? Anybody more?
Yeah, it was great. I think you have touched upon the areas which our students can develop. And I also admire the fact which even use. So I'll just make it a point that students, the points which are coming out from so many years of experience, and what happens sometimes they feel that they should go with a brand name, and we have been telling that they can even of course go to any startup and they should be the reason that it becomes a bigger brand name. And somehow it's coming from you also, and few other places also we have heard. So I hope students, you don't pay attention to just the name, but the kind of work and more freedom that startups have. And that is one thing. And I think there are amazing things in between. I'm just forgetting the last part which you also highlighted, Abhi, about those areas are great about hotel the food industry, the entertainment industry, and museum art, and there's so much happening. So many shifts are happening. So it opens up, I think, a lot of avenues for us.
Yeah.
So if anybody has any questions, or this is a great start. We'll have to, I think there is so much in this. I think you have so much to talk. You said last time that I think this 1 hour is not enough for us, I think, too.
True.
Amazing. Thanks for the values which you are giving. I think, hope the students have noted it and it helps.
So. Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
definitely.
Great. I hope this session was insightful for you all, and I was able to give you some sense of direction as you leave this great institute. It was such a privilege for me to address you all. You can reach out to me anytime. I mean, I am on LinkedIn, I'm on Instagram. Any questions, anytime, regarding visual merchandising or retail industry as a career, or if you want me to connect me to some of the people in the industry, I would willingly do it. So my best wishes to all of you, and thank you once again. Giri sir?
Thank you, sir.
Anything more before we sign
Thank you
off?
so much. No, that's a great start. I think we need to, we need to do this more. And maybe this field is so vast now from where I have seen initially. It is one of the most important because it communicates your design, brand, intentions to the outside world. Means it connects you to the consumer. So it is, I think, almost like the language, the medium which speaks design to the viewer or the person who is there. So means I always admired it, but I have not directly worked with it. Little bit in touch here and there, but a lot of hard work also. A lot of material understanding, a lot of technical implementation, on-site working. I have seen you like all working so hard day and night, especially even in festival seasons, like seasons which are like festivals and you're supposed to spend with families, and you are doing the work, like all the team is working out there because that is also the season to promote the brand. So thanks to that.
Absolutely. You said it right.
Hope to connect again soon.
When people enjoy their holidays, that's the time when we would be working really hard. You got it.
Yes.
All right. So
that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
So see you soon.
Thank you so much. Thank you,
Hope
everybody.
To meet you
See
also.
you all soon.
We have to meet.
Yep. Bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye-bye.
Bye then.
Bye-bye.